Oh, hi. So, here I am. Yesterday there was a fundraising banquet for Umso. Umso stands for the United Methodist Student Organization. In other words, it's the Methodist college group on campus. At the banquet there were 3 people who stood up and told how they personally got involved with Umso, and it got me thinking about my own story. Mostly because my involvement from Umso stems from a freak accident. Before I go into the story, I just need to give a little bit of background. My very first semester here, I did attend Umso because both of my siblings were in it, so they knew about it and they told me about it and I went. It was fun, but I didn't really get into it that much that first semester. I came to the meetings right at 6:30 when they started and I left right at 8:30 when they ended. I'd also heard that there were other events, but I never went to them. I just went to the main Arise meetings. So that first semester, I wasn't really involved with it all that much. Before we go into the main story, yet again, I need to go back a little ways. Bear with me, it's important to the plot. See, when I first started, I met with an advisor. He told me about some of the classes available, and there was one that caught my eye. It was an astronomy class, and it sounded interesting, and I was fairly interested in astronomy, so I was all ready to sign up for it. However, it didn't fit into my schedule first semester, so I decided not to do it then, but I decided that next semester I would look into it. Which is exactly what I did. It's always interesting going into new classes, because I never know what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to know anybody, or what have you. So I walked into the building, I was a little nervous, and I saw somebody who I vaguely recognized. I could tell he was a part of Umso. I remember seeing him at Umso, but I didn't really know him. I didn't even know his name. He recognized me. He knew my name, which was a surprise to me anyway at that point. So we talked, and then we went into the classroom because the teacher had finally showed up. And we sat together, and I found out that this class was actually amazingly boring, which was a bit of a disappointment considering it had been hyped up so much, but the reasoning for that will come later. So as the classes progressed, this individual and myself soon became friends, and I found out that his name was Keith McDevitt. It turned out we were actually a lot alike, and we became very close friends through this experience. One day after class, because these classes happen on Tuesday and Thursday, he said to me that I should go with him to the Umso meeting. Umsos meet primarily on Tuesdays, and Keith said that I should come along with him to go to Umso early, which I had never done before. See, our class got out at about 5:45 usually, sometimes earlier, and Umso didn't start until 6:30. I walked over with him over to the education building where it was being held, and we walked in, and there was somebody else there setting up a sign. We have a sign to advertise for Arise so that people know where it is, and the person who was making the sign at the time was actually Alicia Booker, who incidentally has a YouTube channel, Book 5204. Links in the doobly-doo. And again, I vaguely knew who Alicia was because I knew she was at Umso, but I didn't really know her all that well, just like with Keith. But as the weeks progressed and I continued going early and Alicia kept being there, we became close friends too. And then one day I casually mentioned that I own a pair of bongos, and Keith said, well, you should totally bring that, that'd be awesome. So I did. So I am now part of the praise team of Umso because I own a pair of bongos. And then at the end of not that semester, but the next semester, I was asked to be on leadership team, and I gratefully accepted. Because by this time, Umso had really become a very important organization to me. In a way, it had really become another family to me, and I loved being a part of it, and I was honored to be on leadership. So now you might be wondering why on earth this was a freak accident, because it doesn't seem like one. Well, remember when I said that the class was really boring and I was disappointed? Turns out, the class that I was being told about was an honors class. See, I used to be part of the honors program. I'm not anymore, but first 2 years I was. So this astronomy class that I was being told about and was being hyped up so much was actually an honors class. I'm not sure what it was, whether my advisor just didn't tell me that it was an honors program or I just didn't remember, but for whatever reason I had no idea that this class was actually supposed to be an honors class. So I signed up for this class instead. And if I were able to choose to go back in time and pick the astronomy class that I would want to be in, I'd still go with the boring one. Because although the class itself was boring, it didn't last very long. But the friends that I have made in Umso will last me a lifetime. Hooray for freak accidents. See you next time.